Hey everybody. Alright, that cool. Here we go. That cool. Hey there. Hey big fella. How's everybody? Good to see you. Back on the road. It is.
After an incredible time in the boreal forest with Donovan, it's off to our next adventure. A lesson on buffalo fry and a pan full of pickerel. First though, we actually need to get there. Goose, the 250cc dirt bike I'm riding, has a 10-liter fuel tank. All in all, we get about 200 to 300 kilometers on one tank of gas. The next fuel stop on this remote section of Earth is about 315 kilometers away.
Oh, fuck's sakes. 1.5 kilometers from the finish line, and I'm out of gas. Oh, man. Come on. 820 meters to go. 520. 380. Come on, 90 meters to go. Oh, I think we're gonna make it. Oh, yeah. Coasting in on fumes, baby. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Welcome to Petro, Canada. Nice work, Goose. Way to milk it on the fumes.
Hi, I'm Kix. I love food, travel, and motorbikes. This year, I wanted to see my own backyard, Canada. So I decided to ride the second largest country in the world, coast to coast, on a 250cc dirt bike. It was an incredible opportunity to see the real Canada from inside the kitchens of real Canadians. These are the people and foods that make up this incredible country. Welcome to the Cooked in Canada motorcycle adventure. Welcome to Hay River. First, I need to track down an old friend of mine I haven't seen in years. Or maybe that's decades. Time seems to move a little faster these days. Christy and I used to work together at a questionable restaurant during a questionable period in my youth. That was my first job as a kitchen manager. And to summarize, I'd say it was an anything goes, party till you drop mentality at the time. I probably wouldn't recommend you ate there in those days. Oddly, that business went bust.
Oh, this is the place. This is the place. Christy of the North, how's it going?
How are you?
Good.
How was your ride out of Yellowknife?
I'm really sweaty, so we'll just go like this maybe.
I'm a little sweaty too.
Huh.
I like this part of the world. They have the coolest license plates I've ever seen anywhere on the planet. A polar bear. I want one. Around town, it's not uncommon to see locals traveling by ATV or side-by-side, and Christy agrees to take me on a town tour with hers.
Next stop, Hay River! Expert tour guide, Christy of the North. What is this puppy we're driving right now?
This was on the side-by-side?
Honda side-by-side. This is sweet. In other parts of the world, you have to be suffering through regular cars, automobiles, but in the Hay River, they pick your ass up in a side-by-side and drive you to dinner.
Located on the banks of Great Slave Lake and the mouth of the Hay River, this area was originally settled some 7,000 years ago by the Long Spear people. Hay River has since become known as the Hub of the North, after the completion of the first road here in 1948, now known as the Mackenzie Highway. The route connected Hay River in the north to 𝗔𝗯ance, Alberta in the south, providing an access point to more easily distribute goods to the northern communities. After flooding ruined most of the original establishment on Vail Island, referred to as Old Town, the community of Hay River was relocated upstream to what is today considered Newtown. Driving through, there are two very distinct vibes between Old Town and Newtown. We take street roads, we take back roads, and we take dirt roads. But eventually, all roads lead to my main reason for coming, a VIP dinner invitation at home on the edge of the Great Slave Lake with Christy's friends Kathy McBryan and Frazer Pike for buffalo and bannock night. You might recognize Kathy and Frazer from the hit Canadian docuseries Ice Pilots. This docuseries stars Kathy's family, namely the colorful character Buffalo Joe. A couple of days earlier in Yellowknife, I was heading to Tim Hortons, my office headquarters for most of this Canada-wide road trip, when a little blue truck passed me with what looked like Joe himself. I confirmed Joe was who I thought he was, and reflective of what you may have seen on TV, Joe is a walking personality. And we proceeded to have a little chat about my route. I mentioned I was headed to meet his daughter the next day for dinner in Hay River. I don't have a lot of regrets from Yellowknife, but once inside Tim's, we got to chatting again, and Joe said if my bike needed any maintenance, to bring it by the Buffalo Air Hangar at the airport, and his mechanics would help me out. I could have said anything just to spend the afternoon at the Buffalo Air Hangar, but I killed it by saying everything was good. Too bad I wasn't back on my old KLR. That bike always needed one repair or another. I asked Kathy about their 6 seasons on the show as a family, and if there is really that much drama on a small airline.
Is the up north airline business as dramatic as it looks on TV, or was it heavily edited? Oh, it's actually like that?
Yeah.
It is 100%.
100%.
Because you're not allowed to call it a reality show. They get mad at you. It's a docuseries.
Oh, well, I felt like both actually.
Yeah. Because, and a lot of people figured it was all staged and prepped. And nothing ever was at all.
Yeah.
What? Because I've seen the show like many times, like a lot.
Yeah. Like when we get the word from Norman Wells that the C-46 or whatever blew a motor up there.
Yeah.
They're like, fuck, this is, we're losing thousands of dollars, and then the film crew is like, we blew the motor. We're like,
right.
Fuck TV, guys.
Someone's happy and someone's pissed.
Yeah. Get the fuck out of our lives.
Kathy kicks things off with a family recipe, buffalo fry, as well as a high bush cranberry cake and bannock loaf. The dishes are something she's been eating since she was a kid. Growing up Métis, her grandma's family have deep roots in the area, and the buffalo as well as the caribou were staples around the family's dinner table.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
So what we're cooking just for fun is just to get a taste of. So I'm Métis. I grew up. This is my family's territories up here and stuff like that. So my grandma was one of the original native families up here.
Yeah.
And then, so it was really different because when you think of Métis cooking compared to like traditional Dene cooking or Cree cooking, Métis is kind of, it got watered down a bit, if would that be the right way of saying it? So this year I made a cranberry cake, and the reason why I made it is cranberries we can harvest up here, like we gather them. And
up here, with such a short growing season, the location of wild fruits like the cranberry are a well-guarded secret. So rare that Kathy traded $500 in airplane freight to get the cranberries for this dish.
$500 worth of free freight for 2 pounds of cranberries?
for a bucket of cranberry. But you know what? No, it's really funny. I never did get cranberries.
Oh, so negotiation isn't your
Yeah, no, negotiation's not my forte.
In the Buffalo world, we call her give it away Kathy. Not allowed to do any negotiating. I'm serious. Like, we're dead serious.
Bannock, like the one coming out of the oven, is a staple amongst First Nations people in this area. The recipe is fairly simple, using flour, salt, baking powder, milk, and a fatty ingredient like butter. Depending on the location, it can be substituted with anything from bear to whale fat. Or on today's modern menu, it's a slightly healthier avocado oil. Buffalo fry is essentially thin slices of buffalo meat, and for this recipe, the fry is cooked with home-jarred tomatoes and spices.
Where did you get buffalo meat from?
I got it from our local Métis Nation.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they hire people to go out and get the buffalo and the moose and the caribou.
Yeah.
And then they prep it and package it, and they share it with the elders.
So, how old are you?
Elderish.
Kathy explains this is some of the best meat you can eat. In comparison, people down south are always label shopping for keywords like organic and grass-fed, while up here, the proteins spend their days roaming wild, eating from unpolluted ground and soaking up the fresh northern air. There's nothing else like it. The thin strips of buffalo that have been marinating in soy, back at a seasoning salt, Worcestershire sauce, and onion hit a hot pan on the gas stove. The lean game meat cooks quickly, and once everything is browned up nicely, Kathy adds a pint of home-jarred tomatoes and allows it all to come to a nice simmer. Next, Frazer enters the scene for a lesson on pickerel 2 ways. The fish fillets came from the Little Buffalo River on June the 12th, Frazer's annual birthday fishing trip. Before cutting them into pan-sized portions, he runs a hand across the fillet one last time, checking for any bones. Once the inspection is complete, the fillets are rinsed under cold water and patted dry with a paper towel, as a wet fillet makes a mess in the pan. For the traditional recipe, a bit of white flour is placed in a plastic bag. Let's call it 3/4 of a cup. Then, if I'm paying close enough attention, 14 or so shakes of lemon pepper are added. While this is going on, A well-seasoned cast iron pan that looks like it's made its way up here with the original first Hudson's Bay shipment heats up over the open flames. As the pan heats up, Frazer dollops a bit of butter in and allows it to melt, just enough to coat the bottom. As the butter slides its way in, so is Kathy into the conversation.
Yeah, so if you're frying anything, sometimes it's just always throw a bit of oil in when you're frying with butter and then you won't get that burnt.
Is medium hot, hot?
Yeah,
Oh, sparkly hot.
She's getting close now, yep. Just check and see if we're, yep, we're real close.
Into the bag goes the fillets, one by one for a quick shake in the lemon flour, and then into the pan where they're allowed to cook for 3 to 4 minutes per side. Frazer cooks one fillet with nothing on it to visually explain the cooking process, noting that it has a raw, light white color when it hits the pan. As you watch it cook, the color turns to a more deep, pure shade of white around the edges.
You can see the difference.
Come in for a little closer look here.
So you can see now the fish is,
Oh yeah, yeah.
okay. You can see now it's cooking, the white is coming up through. So you wait till it's halfway, and then you flip it once.
Oh, just once only, and then
Once only.
yeah.
It's a one-time show.
What happens if you flip it like 2 or 3 times? You're an idiot, or there's
No, you just never listen to your grandma.
And when it's this deeper, pure white color throughout and brown across the center, it's ready.
So there's the finished product.
For fish connoisseurs, Frazer has a lightly battered lemon pepper pickle recipe, and for the non-fishy types, he's invented something called a tourist fish. A recipe consisting of equal parts sauce and satire. The tourist recipe masks the flavor of the fish entirely. This allows the tourist who doesn't eat fish to save face when surrounded by those that love it. For this, Frazer explains, you need to get the pan nice and hot. Once hot, add in about twice the butter you would consider feeding yourself. As the butter melts, slide in the unseasoned fillets and allow them to cook for about 1 to 2 minutes before flipping them over. Then sprinkle lightly with salt. From here, you add about 1/3 of a jar of black bean sauce, smothering the fish and suffocating its true flavor. Allow this to simmer for about 3 to 4 minutes until it resembles a blackened Chicago-style steak, and serve it with ample amounts of beer and bullshit.
Yeah.
And you can always tell when the fish is cooked. You just go like this and it just breaks away. Simple as that.
It'd be easier if you just have your own cooking show. That would probably be the solution to this.
If it just breaks away that easy, it's cooked.
Looks pretty good.
Before sitting down to eat, Kathy explains how she was raised with the understanding that you can get meat from the land, and when you do so, you respect and utilize every part of the animal.
And wild meat was such a part of my diet my whole entire life that I just thought it's a normal way to eat, right? And kind of raised thinking, why would you buy farmed meat when you can have wild meat, which I find so much more healthy. And you got to respect that every animal that we eat, every part of that animal was used, right? Right from something functional to arts and crafts to anything, really. So you really grow up the culture to respect the land and respect the process, right? But I think we're ready to eat.
As the buffalo fry spat its last simmer, the pickle rested on a plate, and Kathy sliced the warm bannock. The 4 of us sat down to savor the meal, and I listened to the trio swap stories about life in the North. Kathy says her family has always been pretty close, and have spent their lives working together. This hard work has taken off into what is now Buffalo Air. As someone who's watched all 6 seasons of Ice Pilots, I can say there is an overwhelming amount of evidence that overcoming all of the company's turbulence requires one hard-working team.
The best bannock I've had.
This is
I don't think I've
delicious.
ever had yours.
After waddling my way back from a 3rd round of blindfolded cranberry cake, I was then informed there was still one last course. A salute to what locals refer to as Giver River.
Okay, so this is tequila.
Yeah.
Just regular tequila. Something special about it? Patron. Okay. Okay, we don't
you
mess
wanna
around.
dip it in
So
it?
dinner's over, dessert's over, and now it's tequila, orange, and cinnamon hour. I like this house.
A wedge of mandarin oranges rolled in cinnamon, while a round of Patron hits some oversized shot glasses. Next, a clink of the glasses. A toast is then made to Giver River.
Give a river.
Give a river.
Give a river.
Down goes that tequila, and in goes the cinnamon wedge of orange. With a pucker and a smile, Lakeside Bison and Pickerel dining are complete.
The finish is good.
That's not bad, actually.
It's a good finish.
Tequila. We just did tequila.
A couple with a long list of to-dos, it turns out Kathy and Frazer also operate an RV park in behind their house. And tonight, some long-term residents and friends of theirs are showing the Oilers game fireside with cocktails. Christy and I are invited to stop by to help support the oil and partake in a couple of after-dinner, after-dessert, after-shooter cocktails. The next day, Christy takes me on another town tour, where we stop for burgers at a local grad fundraising event, before heading out onto the Hay River for a relaxing ride on a friend's pontoon boat, where the river eventually meets the still frozen Great Slave Lake.
It's a little bit frozen and a little bit liquid. That is some early season boating. One side is liquid and the other side is frozen. Are you jumping in, Christy?
Oh.
Woo! Okay, don't put your up to your ankle in.
I don't know if it'll break in that
Okay, then up to your kneecap.
No, just my foot. Ooh.
The Great Slave Lake, frozen.
We float the boat and eventually head back upstream. The next day, as I head back to Alberta, the spring temperatures have been incredibly warm. Global warming sounds appealing when you live in a part of the world that's typically covered by ice and snow for half the year, but the side effects have been unsettling. The day after I left, Christy was homeless, along with the rest of the town, as officials evacuated the area on account of forest fires.
Just 49K east of Slave Lake here on the route by Edmonton, and this, as I pull over here and look at this, is just a wall of ugliness. There's rolling smoke coming out from right over here. You can just see the whole backdrop is on fire right now, and the sky is like a little patch of blue, and the rest of it's just a haze of blacky smoke rolling out of the trees and up into the sky. It is nasty.
They were forced to evacuate a further 10 times over the summer. During my ride home, the skies were a smoky, eerie orange, and my cell phone continually lit up with warnings as though I'd passed from one town to the next, and was told I should reroute and turn around to avoid the forest fires and the latest evacuations. Eventually, I made it home out of the fire zone. Hay River truly is the hub of the North, and if you're looking to dip your toe into some of the amazing cultural experience that are Northern Canada, this is the perfect place to start. Small town hospitality, interesting characters, and generations-old family recipes with unique foods like buffalo fry and high bush cranberry cake. You won't find ingredients like that at your local Applebee's. Next up, our team is headed from the Canadian Shield to the farmer's field as we explore the Saskatchewan prairies, get to know the culture and cuisine of the Canadian Mennonite, meet my first self-milking cow, and uncover something I never knew I'd been missing, the faspa, a meal between lunch and dinner.